Welcome along to the Cheltenham Handicap Web Preview. I'm here in the studio with Paul Jones, author of the Cheltenham Festival Betting Guide and our statsman on attheraces.com. And it's time to focus on the lucky last now, the final day, a final race of the Friday, and it is the newly named AP McCoy Grand Annual Chase Challenge Cup. And rather fittingly, possibly AP McCoy's mount Ned Buntline heading the market at 8-1. Blood Cotil is next in along with Monetaire at 12-1. Again, several horses in here with other targets at the festival as well. But it was a race won by Cervelo last year. Formerly, Paul, this has been punter friendly, although it's becoming increasingly difficult in recent years. Yep. Summed up by Cervelo last year, shouldering top weight and not adhering to the stats. No,
it'd been a great race for punters up until about 4 or 5 years ago, and now it's got very, very tricky as it's got a lot more competitive. But one thing that seems to be ever-present is JP McManus has a leading fancy and it usually runs well. He's won the race 3 times and he's also had 6 placed horses since 2003, so he's got a remarkable record in this race. And, you know, it has been renamed the AP McCoy Grand Annual as it's going to be his last ever ride at the Cheltenham Festival. So whatever he's going to ride is going to get punted off the boards, and I suspect it's going to be Ned Buntline, who I could see starting at under 3-1 for this.
We'll look at him for Noel Mead. He finished second, of course, last year. We're having a look at him here back in December at Navan. He's run over hurdles since. For me, I was actually on him last year, and he's a horse that likes to come second. I know he's won several times, but that would be the concern with me. Yeah,
he doesn't look the heartiest of battlers, but he is a strong travelling horse, so he's going to be very well suited to the demands of a race like the Grand Annual. He's been very lightly raced since. You rather suspect that they've always thought to themselves, well, you know, let's just go for the race again next year and off a similar handicap mark, a year stronger. Hopefully he might be able to go through his effort a little bit more. He's got a similar sort of profile to Bill Varno, who was a second season novice when he won this race, and he was a similar type and he needed to be kidded along. And yeah, he's got to have a great chance. And 4 of the last 8 winners of the Grand Annual had run in the Grand Annual before.
OK, well, let's move on to Willie Mullins' Blood Cotil, who's also prominent in the market. Again, a horse that seems to travel really strongly as well, but can throw in the odd dodgy jump along the way.
Yeah, there's one. He's a classy horse, though. You know, he beat Diakali, who was almost beat the new one in the Aintree Hurdle last season in a Grade 3 in Auteuil last May. There's another one. And previously to this run, he was third, beaten 2 3/4 lengths by a horse I like called Sizing Granite. But he's been rumoured to be the sort of the Mullins handicap chase plot of the festival. A lot of people are going to drag up the fact that Willie Mullins doesn't have a good record in handicap chases in Britain. But then again, he has been running horses in ferociously competitive handicap chases in Britain, so I wouldn't read too much into that.
So we've looked at 2 Irish contenders. Do they have a good record in this final race?
They have done of late, certainly. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Yeah, Fotter Island was another winner for them. Arthur Moore's won a couple of races. So yes, it's been a good race for the Irish of late.
Now, looking at the weights, though, we're looking at horses. Bar Cervelo last year carrying less than 11 stone. Yeah, I mean, Cervelo,
he was a real trends buster last year. He had the highest handicap mark for 22 years when he ran this race, and that was a fairly similar theme throughout most of the handicaps last season. The classier horses were coming through, but 14 of the last 15 winners of this race carried 11 stone. So I would say the further down the handicap you look, the better. OK, well, let's have a look at Camping Ground if we can. He's just had the 1 run in the UK. A French recruit seen here at Auteuil, off a mark of 154, so at the higher end of the ratings. Yeah, on that basis he might struggle, but this is a classy horse, and I think he'd be a lot better known if he was trained by a bigger stable than Robert Walford. He'd won his last 3 in France and then went to Warwick and won very nicely there. So, you know, he's a good horse, a very interesting horse. Whether he's got the handicap mark to win a Grand Annual based on stats, debatable. Just going to double check his handicap mark. I think he's 145 actually. I've given him 10 extra pounds, which his trainer won't be too happy about. Yeah, I mean, that's still higher than you want, 145. Yep. You know, I think you are looking for a horse rated lower than that usually.
OK, so that's Camping Ground. Let's see if there's any other contenders that you want to throw in. Of course, Next Sensation tried to make all last year and was reeled in, subsequently finishing 4th. He's 14-1 this year. I mean, Clarkham's an interesting contender, albeit probably on the high side as well for Gordon Elliott, and his target yet to be revealed. Claret Cloak ran in this last year. So, as you've said, a stat of horses running well in the previous year's race, those horses have got to come into it as well.
Next Sensation's interesting. He went off. He finished 4th last season, but he went off far too fast. Only collared at the last. I think with an aggressive ride, but not as an aggressive ride, he's a player for this. He's not done too much this season on ground that wouldn't have suited him. Get him back on fast ground, get him right for the day. He's a definite player. Next Sensation. Claret Cloak was placed in this race as well. He's a horse who tends to place a bit too much for me. Eastlake, I'm pretty sure he's probably been trained for this race by John Joe O'Neill for JP McManus. I do prefer Ned Buntline of those, but he'd be another who'd be on the short list. Bold Henry is another one for JP McManus, and we've already talked about his record in this race. And Paul Nicholls has got a good record in the race too, as have Novices, and he's likely to run Solar Impulse here, and he'd be a player. It's a very competitive race, very good race. I love this race. I like Ned Bunline's chance. I don't think I'm going to like his price on the day, but if you back him now, you've got a fantastic trading option. Give yourself a free bet of around about 5-1.
So is this going to be the lucky last and the big finale to the festival for AP that we're all hoping for?
I'll put it this way, he's going to be on the favourite. Whether it is or not, who knows? It's a 24-runner, mad handicap. I think Next Sensation's going to run a big race.
OK, so Next Sensation, one to bear in mind, but let's all keep our fingers crossed for Ned Buntline in the final race of the festival, the newly named AP McCoy Grand Annual Chase.